Hi everyone, welcome to The Sound on Stage. I'm Greg Heilman. Today we are going behind the curtain with Karin Terry. Most recently, Seattle audiences have seen Karin in Romeo and Juliet at Seattle Shakespeare in the dual roles of Benvolio and Paris, literally playing both sides
Yes.
against the other. Also earlier this season is Betty Schaefer in the Showtunes production of Sunset Boulevard, and soon to be the latest Sally Bowles in the Harlequin production of Cabaret. You're in the vintage trio, the Memphis Belles,
Yes.
Among probably a million different other things. So,
As much as
welcome,
I can.
welcome to the show, Karin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for taking some time. I'll tell you, the first time I think I saw you was a few years ago in Hay Fever on Bainbridge Island with Indie Theater,
Yes.
under the direction of the great Ken Michaels, what a stellar cast. Seamus Smith, you were in that.
Yep.
Chris Clark was in it. Molly Hall, Jason Gingold. Sadie, probably missing a few.
Cindy Giese French.
Yes. So,
Colin Gillen.
yes, I think everyone, and deservedly winning our award that year for Best Ensemble, which was, the show was amazing. And then a couple of them came back the next year and won a bunch of awards for The Foreigner
Right.
and Sweet Surrender and some other things. But we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about all things Karin Terry.
Yay.
So let's talk first about Shakespeare. You just closed Romeo and Juliet a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And how was it? Do you have a relationship with Shakespeare? I mean, most people I think that play Shakespeare love Shakespeare. Are you the same way?
I love it now. It felt very inaccessible to me for a long time. Even though I'm an actor, I am not the biggest reader. I find reading very intimidating. I'm very slow. And so I kind of always felt like Shakespeare wasn't going to be for me. And then in lockdown, everybody had their own sort of pandemic project, whether it was baking bread or whatever. And I already baked bread, so I joined a club of actors, or we sort of made a Shakespeare club. And so for 4 hours every Friday for 2 solid years, we just studied Shakespeare, and I learned from the ground up, basically. And ever since then, I've really loved it. And this was actually my first full-on Shakespeare production to really dive in and. Yeah, I love how nerdy everybody is. It's every single day you're listening, for your cue lines and such, and you just catch something new. The words speak a new image to you that you've heard so many times. I think that's why people love it so much.
Yeah, I was just in Ashland last week for Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and one thing that I realized, and I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, when we talk about modernizing these Shakespeare plays, sometimes it's not even about the words or the costumes or the sets. It's about how people deliver the language and the expressions and mannerisms. Those are all different for each generation as well. So that helps modernize it and makes it, I think, more relatable. I think that's probably a big reason why Shakespeare is just so timeless.
Yes, yeah, unlocking those words that mean maybe something similar, but it takes on a new meaning now. I don't know, we had a scene where people are about to fight, and Mercutio says something about, "Here's my fiddlestick, Zune's consort." And I feel in the original text, where if you had kept all the things about being in a band and minstrels, that fiddlestick would have been more of a literal instrument, and in our version, his fiddlestick was his gun, and so it just really takes on whatever you have to work with and who you have to work with. Yeah.
Well, in your 2 roles in that show, which included a few quick costume changes.
Oh, gosh.
And
the quickest.
did you ever get to the point where, because you had to switch pretty quickly between the two, were you able to do that pretty easily, or to take some time to?
The first time physically switching costumes, we had to run it 3 times in a row, and each one got a little tighter and a little tighter. And my director Sheila would be like, "Okay, how can we?" And it'd be like, "No knee pads." Like, "Okay, try it with no knee pads." And then we do it again and be like, "Okay, how about the pants go on top of the pants?" "Okay, try it again," until it was just a science. And we had an amazing our costume sort of support person backstage, Emily, and she would have something just ready for me to dive into and pull things on while I took things off and run around. I don't know if people know how the theater is set up, but it's basically, there's almost a track all the way around it, and so I had to go from the back back of the stage to the back of the house, and I would be putting on my clothes as I ran. So that
Wow.
got tighter and tighter every time.
Well, that's another area of theater that doesn't get a lot of credit. I mean, costume designers get credit, and there's a certain element of that in what you're talking about, but there's the dressers that are backstage that, especially in quick costume changes, need to make sure that you're prepared. They're the stage managers, the dressers. Those are a lot of the unsung people.
Yes, she was absolutely a hero of this show, and like she had her own track because she was the only one, so many of us had costume changes, and so she'd go straight from one to the next, so she was doing her own pattern, and that requires her setting things up and tearing things down and then getting them ready for the second show of the day. It never ends.
Oh, for sure. So let's talk about then the other show that I saw you in. I saw you in this season, Sunset Boulevard, the Showtunes company. I went into there thinking it was just going to be a bunch of people around music stands just singing, but when you see it, it was actually a show. There's choreography, there's minimal sets, but I mean it's definitely done with purpose. And your role as Betty Schaefer in that was a pretty substantial one. And so I guess I want to get first to how was it to put that together? I mean, it was an all-star cast for one thing.
It really was. I would look around. I definitely on the first couple days I'm always a little shy, but I was a little extra shy, just taking in these people that I've watched for many, many years, been really inspired by, and it's really special when you get to then cross paths with those people and work with those people and eventually become friends. But it was it felt like a masterclass in working quickly and efficiently. So there's not a lot of time. There's very few rehearsals. And it was, everyone just came in and just really did their job, and then we would have fun afterwards, but it was once when we shut the doors and rehearsals started, everyone was they knew their things and they were ready to go, and I felt like I learned a lot about being professional.
Well, I'll tell you the choreography, because I remember watching Matthew Kasurgis, who played the lead, and the music stand is a prop. It's all part of the choreography. It was just really expertly done, and you guys handled it phenomenal. It was really entertaining.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I think my favorite thing he did with the stand was when he, sorry, spoilers, when he dies. That basically part of the effect or the impact of him dying, he pushes it over as he falls, and it's that piece of the show has died, and I just thought that was brilliant. So,
there's a lot of good subtle things in there. Which leads me to my next question, is generally about you. Do you prefer, I've seen you in plays, I've seen you in musicals, even in Romeo and Juliet you had a chance to sing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a preference for one over the other?
I prefer to go back and forth. As soon as I'm finished doing a full-scale musical, then I'm oh, God, I just really want to do a play. And then as soon as a play is over, I'm isn't it nice to dance? So I really enjoy this sort of balance that I've been lucky enough to strike, going back and forth. So I don't think I necessarily have a preference, but really enjoy getting to stick my feet in both pools.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of musicals, the next one is your Sally Bowles in Cabaret at Harlequin. First, Harlequin, you've been in shows with them before, correct?
Yes, I did one last summer. I did Falsettos, playing Cordelia.
And there, for people who aren't familiar, where is Harlequin located?
It's in Olympia. It's right in the hearts of, actually, I don't know that for sure. I'm not from Olympia, but it is right in the little cute downtown area. Right near all the yummy food and the shops and the big park and stuff.
Well, it looks like the sound on stage is now going to have to expand to Olympia.
Yes. or just come see this one. But Harlequin does fantastic stuff, so I always recommend coming down there, even though it's a trek.
now, how was the preparation for that? It's a complicated character. Sally is kind of this person who's been through hard times, obviously, and then finds some hope, and then is kind of stuck in between these two worlds. How was your preparation been for that?
Yeah, so this week, basically, I've been off of R&J for 1 week, and then we actually start today for actual rehearsals. So this break week, I've been sort of trying to take in as much inspiration as I can, and reading the book that Cabaret is sort of based on, the Christopher Isherwood novel, and just realizing okay, what is it? What does the manic pixie dream girl sort of trope mean? And how do you get there, and how much of it is all for show, and how much of it is deep down insecurities. And so, I'm really trying to take inspiration from various of those type of characters, like Fleabag, or I've even seen that Holly Golightly is inspired by Sally Bowles, and many characters like that. So lots of reading, lots of trying to read about what the time period was like and how that's going to affect her circumstances and what she is and isn't allowed to do and why she does the things she does because of her lack of resources. And I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you'll be working on crafting the character over the next few weeks here before you open, which is
the 28th.
28th.
Yes, of
June 28th. So we have that to look forward to. Yeah. This is actually the third cabaret version that there was one in Tacoma earlier this season. Bainbridge just had one with your friend Chris Clark.
Chris Clark.
And there's this one, but it's one of those things I think is an important show, especially for now with things that are going on in the world, some of the divisiveness, some of the things that are happening as far as behavior. Interpret politics what you will. I think it's an important show, set obviously in Nazi Germany, and it's I think many most people know kind of what happens in the show. But can you speak to what you think? How important is this show for us?
Oh my gosh! I mean, it's unfortunately important that this story. It's like just when you start to think like, oh, this is not something we're worrying about anymore, all of a sudden it rears its ugly head again, and then you're like, nope, we need to talk about why these things are important. And this cabaret really deals with like what people do in the face of an ugly truth, and if they ignore it, if they do something about it, if they run away from it, if they pretend to not be a part of it, and I think that's something we're facing right now, which is people not sure how to react to lots of things that are coming up in the news, and that sort of being on the right or wrong side of history and all kinds of those things. And I think one thing I really love that Sally says is, I think people are people, Cliff, I really do. And I think that's a really important theme that we keep bringing back is we have a lot of judgment about those around us. And I think finding these people in these really tough circumstances, it kind of gives us a lot of empathy for why people do what they do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it definitely deals with the face of adversity, the fight or flight, or freeze. I mean, all
freeze
those,
sure.
those things. So it's, and I can't wait to see what Harlequin does with it as well. So I want to talk also about the Memphis Belles. But first, I just want to go through a couple of just random questions. What's your favorite musical?
Oh gosh, I really love Chicago. Another Candor and Ebb, so sparkly. Yep.
Do you have a favorite play?
Favorite play? Oh, gosh, I think
so many. Right?
This maybe sounds a little cheeseball, but I really love Twelfth Night. If we're gonna go with Shakespeare, I think that one may possibly be my favorite one. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say Seattle. Oregon Shakespeare last year had Twelfth Night. It was set in the Jazz Age. I mean, it was just a really well-done production.
Ooh, my favorite play I've ever seen is Hand to God, also, if we're going to do a contemporary play. Yeah, that one knocked my freaking socks off.
I've not seen it.
It's vulgar as hell. It's great.
Is there a dream role that you would love to play?
Yes, this is pretty unconventional, which is like what I'm all about. I never want to be like placed into a box, I want to be able to always play different things. I would like to do the Dice Squiff in Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. That is the character or an actor who plays 8 different roles, all of whom get murdered through the course of the show, generally played by an older male person, and so I'd love to age into it, but I feel like that would still be the ultimate character actor's dream.
That would be cool. All right, well, back on topic.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Memphis Belles.
Great.
So what I understand about them is it's a vintage trio. I understand the kind of music you guys sing is it more like big bandish type era? Is it?
It is. It kind of spans like the 30s to the 50s.
Okay.
There are some big band numbers. You know, we do like Sing 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 and stuff like that. But we do particularly a lot of Andrew Sisters, like trio, tight harmony. We even include, other than jazz standards, musical theater numbers sometimes of that era, because in the 30s to 50s, that is when musical theater songs were actually on the radio. They were popular songs that a lot of jazz artists covered. And then like Cole Porter musicals were both standards and musical songs. So we kind of go all the way through all of those worlds, but we don't really do any contemporary music.
Gotcha. Okay, and to hire the Memphis Belles, because you don't have set concerts or scheduled performances, correct? You're kind of for hire?
We're sort of for hire, yeah. Every so often we'll be at like a fair or something like that. But we particularly work a lot with the senior communities, and they are kind of the number one area to hire us out. But we do also do parties and such. But on our website, I believe it's probably through the Naomi Morgan Entertainment website, there is a section you can go to the Memphis Belles to hire.
We will have this linked in the show notes for the interview, so don't need to worry or memorize any of that
Yes,
stuff.
I was like, I don't think I could say what it is.
Do you have anything planned after Sally Bowles?
I do not. This one has kind of been on the docket for a little while, and so it's that looming sort of like, oh, we've been checking off the things, and now the world is open a little bit for myself. So I don't have anything planned. I don't know what the sort of fall and winter is going to look like. I was like, maybe that means I should travel. Maybe that, I have a friend's wedding that I'm going to be in, so that's kind of like a life thing I'm looking forward to. But I think a break is really special because that's when you can continue taking classes and you can sort of work on your own material and your own shows and things like that. Yeah, it's the better yourself time.
So have you generally localized your performances to the Seattle area? Have you performed anywhere else?
Pretty much the Seattle area. The Memphis Belles do, they're probably the farthest I've been able to travel because they go to the top and bottom of the state. But yeah, I've just been in the sort of Pacific Northwest area. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much variety here and so many theaters. There's so many options to choose from in the area. So much talent.
Yeah.
And you were definitely part of the large group of talent that I've seen in the area. So
thank you.
I do appreciate you taking the time. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Cabaret here at Harlequin in Olympia.
Yes.
In a few weeks, and then who knows what next season?
Yeah.
You might pop up somewhere least expected.
They have, I'm supposed to say, for Cabaret, they do have a special sort of hour-long, or I believe, before the show kind of immersive experience that they are doing, sort of similar to the Broadway production right now. So if people want to get there early as well to see, part of that is they have renovated their space, so you're going to be able to go through the entire backstage area to see everything that they've done, because you won't see it from the front of house. But yeah, so it's going to be a very cool special experience, and then they've got little like stage tables as well that have like a little upcharge that people can do as well. So it's gonna be very special. Come see it.
Very cool. And I'll have that linked in the show notes as well. So Karin Terry, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you all for watching us here on Behind the Curtain with the Sound on Stage. Greg Heilman, my guest has been Karin Terry. And until next time, I will see you at the stage door.